Welcome to Vacuum Wars, and to our latest episode of Air Purifier Wars. This week, we're comparing two notable air purifier brands, Aroeve and its popular MK04 model against Blueair's recently released Blueair 411A Max. We put both of these air purifiers through a full series of tests over the past several weeks, and the results were enlightening. So check out the links in the description, and let's get started. Starting with the basics, the Aroeve MK04 is one of the most popular air purifiers on Amazon in the past couple of years. While the 411A Max from Blueair is newly released, the model it is replacing was also one of the best-selling models online in recent years. The Blueair and Aroeve air purifiers are in the same price range, and they share the same basic air purification techniques, using HEPA filters to catch particulates and carbon filters to eliminate smells, gases, and VOCs. Both are also rated to process the same square footage per hour, according to the manufacturers. The first category is features. These are things that don't necessarily help with air purification, but are nice to have. Both the Blueair and Aroeve have particle sensors, which detect the level of particles in the air and give a real-time air quality indication in the form of colored lights. Because of these particle sensors, both of these air purifiers have an auto mode setting, which will automatically adjust the fan speed according to the levels of particulates in the air to clear the air more quickly when needed. You can manually select fan speeds on these air purifiers too. The Blueair has 3 settings and the Aroeve has 2. They both also have a night mode option, which operates the unit at lower noise and speed while you sleep. Other differences include that the Aroeve has an 8, 12, or 24-hour timer, as well as a UVC light option. The UVC light is intended to supply a secondary elimination of harmful particles that have been caught on the filter, though we've not tried to verify this claim in our testing. We also include their size in the feature category, where smaller is always better, and here the Aroeve is both shorter and has fewer cubic inches overall. One small feature on the Blueair that could be very helpful in some households is a child lock option, which is a simple 2-button operation to keep its settings secure. So for the features category, our winner is the Aroeve MK04. Moving on to filter quality. Both of these air purifiers have HEPA filters with incorporated mesh carbon filters. HEPA filters catch indoor allergens like pollen, pet dander, mold, and bacteria, while carbon filters trap light household odors from pets, cooking, and smoke. The Aroeve has a HEPA filtration rating of 0.3 microns, which is a good industry standard. The Blueair, however, is rated at 0.1 microns, so it will feasibly capture more small particles. Looking at the filters themselves, the Blueair has significantly more surface area than the Aroeve, meaning that it will last longer too. When we look at both the Blueair and Aroeve filter replacement schedule recommendations and the approximate filter replacement costs, we find that the Blueair will be less expensive by about a third over the course of a year's usage. So with our filtration score, the Blueair gains the points for having larger and higher quality filters, putting it and the Aroeve on an even playing field before we move on to our next round, the bench tests. In our bench tests, we measure things like airflow and noise level, and here we saw that the Aroeve had noticeably more airflow than the Blueair. This is likely due to the Aroeve having a larger 34-watt motor compared to Blueair's 20-watt motor. The differences in their motors might also play a factor in the results of our noise tests, where we measured the Aroeve louder at both of its levels, 1 and 2, than the Blueair measured at its highest level. We also do a real-world noise test. For this review, however, at its low setting, level 1, the Aroeve was 60 decibels, which is actually too loud to even compete in this test. But the Blueair measured 48 decibels at its second setting, while generating 30 CFM of airflow, which is pretty good. Overall, even though the Aroeve didn't even qualify for our real-world noise test, in our standard scoring system, the Aroeve wins the points for the bench tests due to its high airflow. Moving on to the filtration tests. In our fog test, we release 12 seconds of fog into a ventless room and run the air purifier on max power. While both air purifiers were successful in clearing the fog back down to baseline measurements, the Aroeve was a little quicker at 83 minutes compared to 90 minutes with the Blueair. We expected this speed difference given the differences in airflow that we saw earlier in this review. For comparison, it takes about 150 minutes to return to the baseline in this room if there's no air purifier running at all. Next, we test for the reduction of volatile organic compounds, also known as VOCs. We test this by pumping exact amounts of incense smoke into a sealed refrigerator and measuring how much and how quickly the air purifier can reduce the VOCs in a 5-minute test on max power. Here, the Blueair performed exceptionally well, with a reduction in VOCs that was almost 4 times more than the Aroeve accomplished in the same time. This is something we could attribute to the quality of the carbon filter that we mentioned earlier. If you want an air purifier for smoke and odor reduction, as well as formaldehyde reduction, this score will be particularly important to you. So, for our filtration test category, the points go to the Blueair for its impressive performance in reducing VOCs. After we add up our scores and test results, the winner of this head-to-head competition is the Blueair Pure 411A Max, with its VOC filtration test and higher quality filter results, giving it the edge over the faster speeds on the Aroeve. Links in the description, and be sure to subscribe to Vacuum Wars before you leave. Thanks for watching.